These two boys were found dead in their school lodge at Okpara University of Agriculture on the 5th of November 2022, and their cause of death is being suspected to be poison. They were said to have ordered food the night before, sending an Okada man to go get it for them. Most likely the food that they may have consumed was gotten from outside of the school campus, possibly because for them to send the bike man to get the food for them, it mostly indicates that the food was gotten from outside of school. This is 1 week after they had resumed school, so 1 week after the school opens and this tragedy is happening. So I want to believe maybe all the restaurants in the school campus had not opened for them to probably go get the food themselves. However, there is still a question whether or not this is actually poison, and if it is poison, who poisoned them? Is it something that would have been deliberate, or is it something that was most likely from an accident? You know, food poisoning happens as often as we don't imagine. Could it be one of those random food poisoning that happened, or were these two boys' food particularly targeted for poisoning? Now, the discussion surrounding the death of these boys is pretty broad. Students have suspected that somebody did this to them because one of the boys, whose name is Decency, is said to be a PRO for the student union government, and he had been acknowledged a few days prior to this incident, and he had made his intention to run for PRO again, and a lot of people are speculating that that may be the reason why someone may want him dead. If you look at it with one eye, it does make sense that he could have been targeted for that reason. Somebody wants to take his position and they don't want him to be PRO. But I don't think PRO is a position you want to poison someone for. If he was running for student union governor himself, or the president of the student union, I would understand that. But who would want to kill someone to take the position of PRO? It seems like a reach for me. And even if someone targeted him, it's as easy as checking who and who wants to run for the same position and seeing how close they are, how accessible they are from each other. See if they live in the same lodge, see if the other contestant of the PRO position live in the same compound or in the same building as Victor and Decency, the two deceased boys. Because if it's true that someone targeted him because of that position, then the person would most likely not be very far from them. Because to have access to their food, you really have to be close to them. But the thing now is, these boys were said to have sent a random bike man to get the food for them. And if that is the case, it's about finding who this man was and saying why, or who else may have had access to this food. It just doesn't make sense that somebody else would have stopped this bike man on the road to collect the food to poison it. The bike man could or must have been in on it. At the same time, this also could have been a case of a random food poisoning that affected them. But the only problem with that theory that, okay, let's say assuming the food that they ate was poisoned from the source, from the mama puts they went to buy it from, or from the restaurant, more people would have died. It shouldn't have been just them. We would have been hearing that, okay, a few more people died around the vicinity of the university who must have eaten from that same place. But for the fact that we're only hearing that these two boys were the only ones affected by a possible food poisoning, it seems deliberate. What is clear here to me is, yes, if this was food poisoning, then they were targeted. What we need to know now is, who had access to this food? Who knew that this was their food? Did the bike man stop somewhere, or did the bike man give someone else to bring the food for them? Because I don't know who else would have access to their food other than the bike man and the person who sold the food. And if the bike man wanted to poison them, why would the bike man want them dead? What would be the motive? What good will he feel or would he get from killing these two boys? Did they offend him? Were they rude to him? Did they use his head at certain points? Are they owing him money? It just doesn't make sense that the bike man would be in on it to me, because it's quite puzzling. Although there have been some theories also speculating from a small group of people, and for some weird reason, I want to be a part of those small group of people who believe that maybe these boys may have induced the poison themselves. I don't want to be sure of what I'm saying because we are not sure. We have not heard from the police. These are all speculations going around. And for those of you who will be like, wait for the police to do their job, well, let's not pretend like this is not Nigeria. There's a chance we may never hear of this case again. So if you're waiting for the police to do their job, you will be waiting a lifetime. Because from my story experience, some stories just end when it ends. It's left for us to understand this ourselves. It's left for us to see how we can make this make sense. And maybe hopefully the police will be watching this and it will help them understand the case themselves, because it's quite tricky. Now, another thing again we need to put in mind regarding the case is the situation in which their bodies were found. We have to put it in mind. The video is quite graphic, so I won't be showing it here. But in the video, one of the boys, Victor, was said to be found on the bed. He had blood in his mouth. He was stiff in a way. He had vomited blood and he laid on the bed. They most likely may have died the night before because he was already soaked on himself, which means he had wet himself. That happens when you die, or your muscles loosen up and everything comes out. Now, the other boy, Decency, was found on the floor with a white substance coming out of his nose. It's not like a wet, watery thing. It's like a big bowl of slime that gathered up like bubbles in his nose. I would have said he's foaming from the nose, but that was not foam. And he wasn't foaming in his mouth. So this came out from his nose particularly. And he was on the floor. From what I saw, they looked sort of relaxed in a way. It did not look like they were struggling. Apart from Decency, who was on the floor, seemingly to most likely be reaching for the door, it looked to me that they knew the effect of what was happening to them. They probably did not know that it would kill them. It seemed like they may have had enough time to fight for their lives, but I guess this was something that just killed them without their knowledge, which is giving the second school of thought or the second speculation that is on the ground. A few people talking that they may themselves have put something in their food or taken something that may have been drug related, and they might have been experimenting with something that may have gotten out of hand. Because if that is true, I see the possibility there. So it's just really unfortunate on a normal note. It's a sad incident. We can speculate from time to time, but at the same time, it's just sad that these two boys lost their lives in this way. They were said to be close friends and very active in the political situation of the school. One of them was even crowned prince a week during the SCG week, prior leading to the death. But many people have the opinion that this might be a school politics thing, but I personally don't see it, honestly, if you ask me. Judging by the situation, it doesn't look like. I don't know why anybody would want him dead for a PRO position. It's not like you won't still contest for it. You would have to contest for it. So even if you kill him, someone else, you still have to contest with someone. I just don't see it. That could be possible too, honestly. It could be possible, but it's just difficult for me to see it because, however, if that is the case, then it shouldn't be difficult to grab. Find out where all the contestants were, where the people who wanted to, like, you just need to find out how they may have gotten access to their food, since they were the only ones poisoned. And also find the bike man who brought the food to them. Also check the substance of the food, check the hostel, check around. The police just need to check their environment, check their pockets. The clues will be there. If these people maybe took drugs or poisoned their food, put something in their food to enhance some kind of experiment drugs, because drug is kind of like the order of the day now, then it should be in the scene of their hostel. All the police have to do is search and find it, and they have their answer. This shouldn't be difficult to investigate. An autopsy could also tell the kind of poison that may have killed them. There are just so many ways that the police could do this, find their answers and be close to it. It's not every time that is money ritual or juju. It's not every time, because some people will be like, yeah, the school have sacrificed them. I'm tired. The answers is probably very easy. Anyhow, this is kind of like all we have regarding this story. So make sure you like this video and stay subscribed. In case there is an update, which I doubt, I will be happy to update you on this story. We'll be following it up and see if anything comes up, because I'm quite curious as to how these two boys died in their hostel. How? Let me know what you think in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.